Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Super excited about our guest today on the show. Someone just like you and I, going along life, just like any other day. A dad, involved in the masjid, has his kids, has a job, a business, but then decides, you know what? I want to make a difference. I want to make the world a better place in a different way. And so he wakes up and he ends up running for Congress. That's right. On the show today, Junaid Ahmed from Illinois running for U.S. Congress, and he shares tips and advice on how each and every one of us can be civically engaged and civically involved and why that's important in making the world a better place. Right now, Junaid Ahmed on the show. Assalamu alaikum, Junaid Ahmed. Thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you, Tayyab. Thank you for having me. Great to see you.
Oh, of course. Junaid, I moved to Chicago, and man, I think it was 1999. And at that time, that was probably the first memory I had meeting you, just, at the youth group. And I remember working alongside and sort of learning from you, watching you as you built your consulting from your business, an entrepreneur who I respected and learned from. And then I hear about Junaid running for Congress, US Congress. I mean, that is unbelievable. I mean, what fueled that? What inspired that?
I think that was a journey, I say. Going back, obviously, as you know, we were always kind of wired to give back, right? Even as youth, we came together to build a community, build our youth groups. Kind of growing a bit older, but I got involved a lot in the relief work. And fast forward, there were two tipping points that I say that kind of, put a trigger to this, right? One, I was for work in Germany once, and I was talking to this young man in his low 20s, and I'm trying to understand what his student debt looked like. And at that time, for my wife, we were paying very high interest rates, and I'm trying to understand. And it took me a minute to get him to question, and then he just smiled back and said, "We ain't got such stuff." And I was like, "Dude, man, if we're 100 times richer than Germany. Why do we have this?" Fast forward, life goes on. Second thing that kind of triggered me, when my son was in the hospital for literally one night, 2 days, and our insurance bill was about $10,000. And I was like, dude, I thought I had the world's best insurance out there. And then, and those things at the back of my head. And then life goes on again, back to relief. I was part of multiple, post Katrina, we were reacting to it here at the height of, there's many relief work. I think that I have been always part of. Then in parallel, these things come up. And then I hear this Uncle Bernie talking about all these right things, and everything this man says is right. And I look up more and more and more. And I was like, dude, we got to do something. This is everything, because I could do relief. My kids can do relief. Our grandkids can do relief, and things are not going to change. And what this man is talking about is actually eliminating hunger, actually talking
Mm,
about people not going without a shelter. Those are basic
yeah.
things that the richest country ever on the planet should never have. That was the trigger point. That's how that journey started, and he came to this point.
Wow. So you're in Germany and you're talking to a student who tells you he's got no student debt. You're then, your son is in the hospital and you've got big hospital bills. And you're wondering, how is this possible that our country, as strong as it is, as awesome as it is, we still have these burdens on students, these burdens on moms and dads. And then you hear Bernie talk about Uncle Bernie. I love that. Uncle Bernie talking about how he's got solutions. You know, um, what was, you mentioned relief work and you mentioned Katrina. I think about volunteerism when I hear that. Um, and and in America, more than anywhere else, we've got this this culture of volunteerism, this culture of philanthropy, this culture of sort of working like, you know, you went from volunteering for relief work to now being civically involved and civically engaged. I mean, what was that journey like? Like, how did you pivot? Did you volunteer first? Did you,
Yeah.
how did you go from there all the way to, hey, I'm running for Congress to make a difference?
Yeah, the way that started was talking about Bernie. There was remember Bilal Mujahid. He was hosting Illinois Muslims for Bernie, and then he was doing chai for Bernie. That's how I was like, this
Okay.
is great. I started hosting chai for Bernie. I started first. I went to his house. We started making some phone calls. Then at my house, and then we kind of kept increasing it. And obviously, whatever happened, one of the outcomes of that was there was across the community, people wanted to do something post Bernie. And one of the organizations that came out was Schaumburg Area Progressives. And then I was a part
Mm.
of that. And then right after Bernie didn't make it, we had a fellow brown brother running for Congress, Raj Krishnamurti from Illinois' 8th congressional district. And I was like, look, he's talking all the right things. Bernie didn't win, but at the local level, we can do something. He's running for Congress. Let's do what we can. And that's when all of us pivoted to supporting him. He wins. And then, to be honest, life goes on. Us with our volunteerism and everything. To be honest, that's at the forefront. Coming back to the masjid, I used to run the masjid parking lot, and everything was just back to masjid, back to life, back to relief. And then I get a call about a couple of years later from Schaumburg Area Progressives, like, Junaid, we need to sit down and talk. You got us into working for him. We worked so hard. It's been a year and a half and there's nothing happening. I was like, I don't know. It's like I'm back to my life. So we sat down. Fast forward without getting into too much details. They were like, look, there's too much corporate PAC money involved here. There's a lot going on, Janae, that we can't sit back. Everything that we have done, the movement that we have built is not going to get us anywhere if we
Mhm.
sit back now. So they wanted to the primary him, and they were looking at a few candidates to go against him at the time, and nobody was willing because he's got a lot of money in the bank, and nobody from the machine would challenge an incumbent. And then I got a call from John Kokoris one day, and he goes, Junaid, I think we have a candidate. And I go and I go, okay, what's her name? Because we were looking at two women at the time, and they go, her name is Junaid. It took me from that point on 6 months to really see, because honestly, the running for office, they have, our community, our culture, at least, how politicians are not good people. They lie. You don't want to be a politician. You're an Islamic worker. You focus. You keep your heads down. You pray 5 times a day. You give back to the community. And that's what life is.
Yeah.
That's success. Now, all of a sudden, to wear a politician hat was tough for me. For the first
Mm.
3 months there, I was extremely uncomfortable, and my friends here know this. Saying out loud Junaid for Congress. It was very uncomfortable for me to talk about, even take my own name on something.
Yeah.
So that's how the race came up. We ran this race in 2022. After the elections, there was a lot of handshakes. Things are really good. He agreed to do a lot of things right. And here we are. The seat has opened up, and we are making some very good inroads.
No, Junaid's like, I hear you. Like one of the things even I struggled with was with this podcast, who I call it the Tayyab Yunus show. I'm, like you pointed it out perfectly. Like in our culture, I don't know if it's Muslim American culture, if it's Islam, if it's what it is, but I just know that, we're we're very, not self-promoting as a culture. We're more social service and social good. And I love how you keep saying life goes on. This is what's expected of us. Do your job, pay your taxes, go volunteer for relief work, pray 5 times a day, raise good kids, and life goes on. And you're spot on. I mean, that is the the sort of American dream for American Muslims. And what I'm hearing you say is that, there's another avenue here that is also part of the American dream, and making America awesome, which is basically being civically engaged and civically involved. And tell me more about that. Like, like what are some of those, like, do you feel like for American Muslims, it's just go from relief right to running for office, or are there like other ways people can get involved or get engaged?
Look, I think running for office is just one of the many, many, many ways.
Okay.
I think where the community is lacking, in my experience, is getting engaged at that grassroots level. Right, running
What's
for
that look
office is
like?
one thing. I'll tell you what that looks like. I was In my district, it's a primary. It's a 55% white, about 24% Hispanic, 14% Asian, less than 4% blacks.
Hmm.
So it's a very diverse community,
Yeah.
primarily majority white, which is microcosm of America here. Um, and I'll share one experience that, which is what I think I say that there's a lot of grace, right? This is I share that as a learning experience for our community. I, you know, I was knocking doors for people before I was a candidate for many, many years. Different candidates, different good candidates come up. I don't have time to run for office, but I can certainly help Will Smith, who is running. He's a great dude. I like him. His policies are great. So how can I help him? I can give him 2 hours on a weekend, 1 hour on a weekend. And then when he is an elected, he's going to talk to me, he's going to consult with me, he's going to stay connected if he's a good guy, obviously. Now, I'll share one experience that happened, and I think this should be a wake up call for the Muslim community. One Saturday, we're planning, and then okay, we're not going to meet next Saturday. I was like, why so? Elections are not too far away. Why would we cancel? Oh, it's a Jewish holiday. Nobody's going to be here. Like, this is not a Jewish majority neighborhood, and all my friends sitting in there are, not all, several Jewish, white, Junaid, and everybody there. And I think if I were to give one message to our, friends who are listening here today, you need to get involved. Imagine that you cannot have a say. You cannot show up one day. And that's the issue that I'm having with a lot of candidates across the country as well.
Hmm.
Do you want to show up and they want to run for big office because they have
Hmm.
accomplished a lot in their professional world in some other capacity. I think you have to be involved. People need to know who Junaid is, who Tayyab is, before they start talking about us, before they have some sort of say. That one experience, I think that's something I share everywhere. I say, give 1 hour a day in this civic engagement capacity. And secondly, I'm a huge single payer healthcare guy, and immigration rights, environment rights are huge for me. For the last 10, 12 years, I've been on the streets, just holding, I've been on the picket lines. And not because I was going to get, I honestly had zero intention to run for any office. It's not like, okay, I wanted to run for office and I was preparing for it. No, not really. When I saw that, hey, there is a physicians for single payer healthcare who are having an event here, I'm just going to go participate. There
Yeah.
was an ICE detention center about 25, 30 miles northwest of, if you remember, the McHenry County. There was an
Hmm.
ICE detention center where parents and kids were being separated
Oh
at the
no.
time. And we protested in the deep winter. And then everything, every night, that gave me that excitement to go, that I could not get tired even after a long day, was Mary Shasgreen. That woman, I don't know how old she is. She's very old, but when she could drive 25 miles in snow and still be out there protesting, I have no excuse. And that's why I showed up, and we actually succeeded in shutting down that ICE detention center. So running for office is one aspect of it, but there are like
Hmm.
100 other ways that we can do it.
Yeah. So when I think about, even my own journey, I think about, I felt like the first thing that I need to do was go vote. Like that's me practicing my civic leadership, my civic involvement, my civic engagement. Second, what I felt like is, I needed to study and understand the issues that I care about. Find out who are the organizations or the people that are out there talking about those issues that I care about. And then really understand what policies are in the way of those issues or policies that are supporting those issues, and then be part of those coalitions and collaborations, and get involved, volunteer, support. What am I missing? What am I not thinking about when I think about those stages? Because I myself, I would, I don't see myself running for office ever, but I certainly care about, my education for my kids. One of the reasons why I love Florida is because just I feel empowered as a parent on how I want to educate my kids. I love that. And so I follow that. My wife's an educator. I got 6 kids. So what am I missing? What else advice do you have, you know, um, for someone who's thinking how they can get involved? What's their playbook should be?
think, Tayyab, you said one thing that I missed out. First and foremost, getting out and voting. I think if 100% of Muslims come out and vote, I promise you that we can take this, the narrative in the right direction. That's the absolute least.
Mm.
And if you live in a state like Illinois, you're talking about voting twice a year. That's it, right? You have your primary in Illinois and you have your November election. And then every odd year, you have your municipals. And then even years, you have state and federal. 4 times a year, 2 times a year, maybe 10 minutes each, 20 minutes. That I think people should take it as a wajib that I'm going to do it. That's like how you do your Eid Salah twice a
Yeah,
year. That should be your voting. That's number
I
one.
love it.
Absolute. You said it. But thank you for bringing that up. That's the absolute basic point I missed out. Secondly, if there is a policy that is important to you, I talked about environment, I talked about uh, immigration, I talked about healthcare. Now, Gaza could be top priority for you, or India's Hindutva could be a top priority for you, or if Ukraine policy may be a top priority, Venezuela may be a top, whatever it is, right? Find that sweet spot for you and participate, get engaged. And getting engaged could mean 2 hours a month, like a 1 hour a week or something, or something like that. You have to find your sweet spot and get engaged. That's step two. But step one is wajib. Step two, if I were to say it, make it a sunnah if you want.
Yeah,
But
no,
if
I
you want to
love
get
it.
engaged, yeah, that's
What do
pretty
you
much it.
think what do you think, like, what's in the way of American Muslims getting out there and voting? Like, what do you
Too
think's
too
what
busy with life. I think it's
Yeah?
we are no different than any other population.
Mm,
I'm dealing with the exact same issue with the Hispanic participation in the district.
yeah,
Remember, I just told you my district is 55% white.
yeah.
When it comes to primary voting, 78% white.
Mm,
Look at that. I mean,
big
and I'll
difference.
give you one more number: 15,000 plus registered Muslims in this district.
Wow.
Before we ran in 2022, no more than 800, 850, I think actually. 850,
Wow.
855. That was the voting number in a primary. Now,
Wow.
we talked to voters, we worked, we knocked doors, we were able to increase it by uh, another 300%, and we took it to 3,400. But still, 15,000 versus 3,400 is
Big
not good
difference.
enough. Now, you can be a WhatsApp warrior, and then you can constantly complain on social media about issues. But if you don't come out and vote, and I think that's the bottom line. I think if you want any influence on policy, you can protest all year long. Both you and I have protested all of our lives, I think, for different issues. That's great. We can keep doing it. But what we've got to do is get civically engaged. It's not an overnight win. You can't take it slow. Get yourself involved, get your kids involved. And again, I'm not saying 40 hours a week. I'm saying 1 hour a week, 2 hours a week. Trust me,
Yeah.
you will find your areas that you can grow in at that point.
Yeah, I'm a big First Amendment person. I love the Constitution and I'm all about the First Amendment. But I'll tell you also, Junaid, you mentioned how many people participate in the primary versus how few people from the Muslim community participate in the primary. You know, I'll shamefully admit that until I got out there and educated myself, like I just thought the elections happened once every 4 years in November. Like I was that guy. Life goes on. So, like when you're saying we need to increase participation in the primary, why does the primary matter, and why should people pay
Good point.
attention to the primaries?
I'll
Yeah.
go back to my district again because I think this is a microcosm of what happens across the country here. Suburban Chicago district, we have very small parts of city Chicago. In this race, there are 8 people running in on the
Okay.
Democratic slate, and this district is 6% blue. What does that mean? That means whoever wins the primary wins November. And
Mm,
in November, to your point, people vote in November. Uh, you expect about 300,000 people to vote in November. So
yeah.
15,000 Muslims, 300,000 people coming out and voting. It's a very minor, small number. Now, just convert that to 45,000 people is what is expected to vote in a primary.
Mm,
That's when you select your candidate on the Democratic side or the Republican side. And we have contested primaries on both sides. and 45,000 people are going to decide who will be the representative from the Illinois 8th congressional district. And a big majority, I mean, you hear that in the news all the time, right? There are certain districts which it could go Republican or Democratic, and those November elections are very important. But then there are certain red seats and there are certain blue seats. Whoever wins the primary is going to get it. That's why primary is so important. Now, let's say if you identify like myself as a Democrat, then you have a choice. If I'm not a candidate, people in this district have a choice as to who do they want to pick amongst the eight. When
Mm.
you participate here, you got your choice of candidates. Otherwise, you'll get someone who you're not going to like anyways. And you're not going to like anyone on both sides, and you're going to give up. This is your opportunity to pick who your representative could be.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is the people who vote in the primary select the Democratic candidate who ends up in the November election, and that's likely going to be the candidate who wins. Is that fair to
Yes,
say that? So
absolutely.
therefore, okay, so if that's true, then everyone's got to get in the primary, especially in your district.
Yes.
Yeah. So folks, if you're in that district or in a district like the one we're talking about, then it does sound like the primaries really, really do matter. Absolutely. And you need to get involved. Do people have to register separately to vote the primary, or you just show up if you're already registered to vote?
In some state, you have to pre-register. Illinois is one of the good states where you just show up. And this year, I can ask for a Democratic ballot. Next year, the same person could ask for a Republican ballot. No problems there. It's up to them. Whatever they want to, they don't have to be registered. In some states, you have to be registered. It's a bit different. Illinois, it's you can pick any ballot you like.
Also, like Janae, something else I want to pick up on that I heard you say earlier is you said that when you started, there were less than 800 Muslim registered voters. And now that number, after you guys got involved, has jumped to 3,400. So what it sounds like is
Ted, let me
that,
quickly clarify before you complete
yeah,
your
please.
question. This not the people registered to vote. Registered to vote was 15,000, upwards of 15,000. To be
Okay.
specific, 15,384. 800 is the number of people who showed up to vote in a primary.
Mm,
And we
okay.
increased it to 3,400 to who showed up to vote in a primary. So please continue.
Got it. Got it.
Sorry.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So what I'm what I'm hearing you say is by virtue of the fact that you chose to run for office, it increased the impact of that was it went from 800 Muslims in the primary to over 3,400 Muslims in the primary of 15,000 elected. And so it sounds like to me that we need more, if we want to get more Muslim voters engaged in primaries or secondaries, we need more Muslims running for office. American Muslims
Yes.
running for office. Is that a fair
Yeah.
statement?
That would clearly help. No question about it. And I think
So
in that, yeah.
if you're tell me like as an American Muslim yourself, and how are you dreaming of the world being a better place? How are you dreaming to make, you know, Illinois a better place for everyone? Yeah.
Yeah. No, look, we were on the streets, protesting. We were asking for, workers' rights to organize, basic things like at the picket lines. Now we will take our, I mean, we're damn good at it. We're good at organizing, man. I mean, honestly, I don't think anybody can compete with us when it comes to
That's
organizing.
right.
If you want to organize a protest day in Florida, you can pick up the phone today, and I guarantee you, if the cause is right, by the weekend, you're going to, gather thousands of people. We can do
Yes,
that
for
here in Illinois.
sure.
I think we are very good at it. First, recognize our potential. We
Mm,
can do that. Second, that organizing skills, I'm going to take it to the halls of Congress. When I'm talking to, keep in mind, when I go there, I'm going to be one of the 435 Congress people, 100 senators, 535 people make the legislative body, and they're going to be making the laws for this country. I'm
yeah,
going to have those conversations. I
yeah,
think, I'm learning this every day that you're better than a lot of people out there. We have it. We just don't know it.
yeah.
And I think we can take those organizing skills to the halls of Congress and do things which are right for America.
Yeah.
People think that I want to run. People talk about Muslim. We talk about our issues there. Great, but Muslim issues are American issues. If I was paying high interest college debt for my wife, America is doing it. I paid
Yeah.
money for my son's hospital. America is like, going through it, and Americans don't want their money to go unchecked, bombing civilians, starving children. Americans don't want it, dude. I mean,
No.
honestly, I'm telling you, I'm talking to hundreds of people. Our campaign has knocked over 12,000 doors, and we haven't even started yet. And I'm telling you, a big majority of the people want our money to come back to our district and not send billions of dollars unchecked overseas.
Yeah, no, thank you, Junaid. Thank you. That means a lot. Like, what I'm hearing you say is, we have to first recognize our potential and also understand, our ability to organize and organize for good, organize for making America awesome. And you're on the front lines of that. I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. Any last words of advice for the audience? Any tips, any requests? Go for it.
One message I'd give, especially to our young audience: don't get into politics because you want to be a politician or it's fun, or I promise you it's not. Get into politics if you want to give back to the community. If that is your
Mm.
path to be of service to the community, then if you're getting in with that mindset, I think that's the highest level of giving back to the community. But if that's not the mindset, don't waste your time. My son asked me this question, Tayyab. When he asked me what your salary would be once you get elected, when I gave him the number, it's like, Dad, are you sure you want to run? And he literally asked me, "Are you sure we can be able to survive? Because right now I know you do a lot more than that." And I was like, "You know what? We'll have to, because this is something we have made a decision. So do it with the right reasons. The reward is with Allah."
Thank you so much, Junaid, for being on show. Folks, Junaid for Congress, Illinois, guest today. Thank you.
JunaidForUS.com. Sorry, Tayyab.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
forgot to say that. JunaidForUS.com is our website.
JunaidForUS.com. We'll make sure we share that out there and spread your advice to everyone. Good luck, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. May He accept your efforts, and give you the tawfiq to lead the community and make it better for everybody. Thank you so much, Junaid, for being on the show
Thank you, Tayyab.
today. Assalamu
You're welcome.
alaikum wa rahmatullah.